The children who are talking about Jesus and sharing Jesus with their classmates, you can see that they have a passion, like in this like fervency. That's something that's not forced, you know. And because the society that we live in is so focused on like, oh, just accepting yourself or whatever the case may be, these in particular children have said, you know what, I am going to accept myself. I'm going to accept myself as a child of God, and I'm not going to deviate from that. And you can see them go throughout with this passion because when I got to Texas, I started a Christian club, after school club, and at first it was like one or two people. And I remember one day, I was like, God, I don't know how many, because it was like weeks after weeks with just one or two people, and I was like, God, I don't know how like, do you want me to keep doing this? Like, is this working? And then out of nowhere, just like I remember, it was maybe about 10 kids that came. And, a few of them came just because they were looking for somebody that was in the club, and they was like, well, just stay. And you could see just how the word of God was just growing the faith of the people, of the children. And one of the biggest things that this week, when I was like, okay, God, like, what is like, I'm getting myself, prepped up for this conversation. I'm like, well, God, what is the threat to the education system? Because I can attack that from so many different levels, like from curriculum to policy and procedure to hierarchy. And when I was just walking through the courtyard to my class, I kind of just started just like seeing it within the spirit. The biggest threat to the educational system is the lack of accountability and the disdain for accountability. We have hierarchies. The students know the hierarchies of the schools. They know who the principal is. They know who the admin are. They know who the teachers are. They know who everything from the janitors to people from the district. They know that. The hierarchy is something that they understand. Is a disdain for accountability. So it's there blatant. It's not just the students level, but just throughout the education system, that people will be in positions, but they don't want to be held accountable for what they do. They do a lot of things secretly. Oh, this person's not going to notice. Oh, yeah, just we'll let that slip through the cracks or whatever have you. And that keeps piling up until we see a detrimental problem just unfold, whether it's through student behavior, whether it's through safety issues. At some point, someone drops the ball, and it's a ball that doesn't need to be dropped because of the lack of accountability. A lot of people feel as if they know better, and even some of the students, they may feel like, oh, well, getting told to go to class is like, well, I know what to do. Well, you may not know what to do because you're in the hallways and it's 15 minutes past the bell.
Right.
Apparently, you don't know what you're doing. You need to go to class. You need a reminder to get back to class. Or the teacher who needs to be held accountable for even the negative seeds they speak into students, because you see that a lot as well too.
Wow.
Because the Bible is very clear about the principles that literally govern this realm,
Absolutely.
because people will eat of the fruit from their lips. And when you're in a classroom and you're a professional, you call yourself a professional, but you're not held accountable for your words, and you're sitting there, bad talking this student and bad talking this and bad talking this administrator, like, you're gonna see the fruit of that. But
Yes.
it's the disdain for accountability, because once you bring it to the attention of those adults or whatever the case may be, now it's an issue. But it's like, no, you need to be held accountable for that. It's like people, they seem to glorify the coddling and the empathy, but they don't want the accountability. And that's a really big threat to the education system. And I think that that's the reason why, when the whole checks and balances and looking at, the Department of Education became a big thing, because for years it was like, okay, we had this Department of Education, but how come schools are still struggling? How
Right.
come there's Title I schools where we don't have enough desks for students? How come how come the textbooks that are still given to the students are outdated? Like, who's being held accountable for this? It can't just be the principal, and it can't just be the admin, or even just the district people, like, why is it still a problem? Why are schools of minorities and schools of students of color, why are they still struggling this bad? Like, there needs to be accountability. It's not the students, it's not the teachers, it's not the personnel, it's not the geographical location. There has to be some more accountability given. So
Right.
that disdain and that dislike for accountability is becoming a major threat in the education system.